Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and I am back, and on today's video I'm going to explore this really cool museum behind me, the Fitzwilliam Museum, right here in Came. Here behind me goes back to the year 1816, and essentially it houses artifacts from all over the world. I'm talking parts of Europe like ancient Rome, I'm talking parts of Asia, and so on and so forth. So in Cambridge there are a huge variety of museums, and I believe this museum here is actually owned by the university, so it's really cool. So we're going to go inside now and have a look and show you guys what there is to see. Right, so let's start in this section here on the ground floor and work our way up. This is for ancient Greece and ancient Rome, two historic civilizations that have shaped the world. Let's go inside. So guys, everything in this gallery here are sculptures that came to England between the 18th and 19th century. So at this time, rich Englishmen used to travel around Europe basically, and they visit the most culturally important cities like sort of like Rome and Athens basically. And essentially they would bring these back to England. So on here you can see a huge variety of things. So number 4, as you can see here, is the head of a warrior. Number 13, which is this thing here, is I can't see it, but that's like some kind of like writing. So right here in front of me you have what would have been a Roman tomb. So you can see here essentially just all the various sculptures around it basically. So you've got the top there, and then you've got the bit there that would have been the inside, and then as you look here you can see the actual design basically. But that is roughly the inside of what a tomb would have looked like, pretty much. And this here comes from the year, I think, AD 150 to 200. So here you can see a timeline of the Greek world and the Roman world, basically. So for example, if you start down the bottom, 2500 BC, Stonehenge essentially was created. And as you can see, as the years go up, for example, you can see 776 BC, first Olympic Games, and then you can see 507 BC, Roman Republic established. You've got the assassination of Julius Caesar, and so on and so forth. So you can see that the Greek and Roman empires were pivotal to birthing Western civilization. So here you've got a variety of Greek vases. So almost all of these vases were made on a potter's wheel, but a few were wholly or partially mold made. The striking color contrast of the black and red was produced by a chemical reaction during the process of firing. But as you can see, there's a huge variety of patterns on here. So you can see like you've got like some like goddess, I think that is, and then you've got obviously like some bowls and stuff. So over here as well, so number 12, which is this green one here, is Alexander the Great. As you can see, number 21, which is these coins here, is the head of Alexandra as Zeus Ammon. And then as you go down here as well, you've got some more important figures. So number 40 is an actor playing the part of a runaway slave. So you can see here just a huge variety of sculptures and so on. So everything that you see here is classed as gifts to the gods. So these are the kind of things that you would have found in an ancient sanctuary of a minor god. So visitors would give objects and stuff, like for example these here, as a sacrifice to the god that they believed in. Now everything inside this gallery that I'm standing in is dedicated to the island of Cyprus, and I briefly spoke about it in my video at the British Museum, that essentially Cyprus was a place for very popular for sort of like artwork and resources and stuff. So this here is a tribute to Cypriot culture. So for example, you've got like Cypriot pottery here, pretty much, as you can see. You've got like clay here, pretty much. So the most common early Bronze Age pottery was the handmade red polish ware, pretty much, which is this, as you can see. So this is all in dedication to the country of Cyprus. So everything in this section is dedicated to the ancient Far East. So anything from sort of like Cyprus, past Cyprus, all the way to India. So like pretty much most of Asia and so on. Let's have a look. So all the objects that you see on here comes from the area of the Middle East, mainly based around sort of Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, that area there. This section here is dedicated to the Arabian Peninsula, and this thing here sticks out. So this is a roaring lion lintel. So everything in here comes from the area sort of around sort of Turkey, pretty much. So this here is known as a bone decorated couch. So essentially it's obvious that bone is obviously too delicate and fragile to decorate a couch in today's world. But essentially these were very, very common during the Roman era. So you can see up top here you've got a cushion, as you can see here, and this is the kind of couch they would have used during that era. So here you've got a bit more information about it, pretty much. This is the rough another example here, as you can see, and then around it on the legs it will have various like sculptures and so on to decorate it. But that is typically what a bone a couch made of bone was. Those couches are actually very, very common in the days of ancient Greece. It was actually a sign of huge wealth, and if you had one, it meant that you're obviously doing very well for yourself in terms of status-wise. So that's why it's so important, and that's why it's displayed right there. So in front of me you've got an Egyptian sandstone shrine, as you can see. This is roughly from the years 1400 BC. And this is roughly here what would have housed figures of the gods in temples, pretty much. So I'm going to have a little walk around it, as you can see. I can't touch it, but you get an idea of how thick it was, basically, pretty much. Then on the side of it you've got like various sculptures and stuff, or drawings, as you can see. But I cannot touch it, but you get a rough idea of what it looked like. So this here shows a former Egyptian king in the form of a mummified god. So as you can see, it's absolutely huge, but essentially the kings were obviously very important at that time, as they always are now. But essentially I want to show you some details about this. So as you can see, it's very, very tall, but as you look around it as well, you can see I think that's like his wife or servant alongside it. And as you come down as well, you can see that this is actually made of granite. So you've got a granite lid here, pretty much. The section that I'm going to go in now is called interiors. So it looks at obviously pretty much artwork inside the home, specifically inside your personal homes, but also talks about the changes, the social changes that happen in Britain from sort of the 1700s onwards. So here you've got a workshop of Pierre Langlois, and he was a fashionable interior of the 1700s, basically. And he took his inspiration from ancient Greece and Rome. So as you can see there, it's just absolutely lovely. You've got obviously the designs and stuff. I can't touch it yet again, but you get a rough idea of what kind of work he did. So guys, the main social change was obviously women's rights. So you see in here a huge variety of women's paintings. So you've got a lady here, pretty much sitting there reading. Then you've got some more cool stuff here, and also as well you've got some nude paintings as well. So essentially in the 1800s people were starting to rent out their homes for people to live in. So artists would actually paint these people in their natural settings, whether that was clothes or not. You can see there basically. So this is a portrait of a lady called Helene, basically, and she was a London-based singer of mixed heritage who performed at clubs in Soho in the 1920s, basically. So yes, there was obviously non-native people in Britain before the post-war period. Not a lot, but there was, and she is one example of that. This here is another one. This is a portrait of the Roma of Barbados. So Jacob Epstein made several portraits of black and mixed race heritage women in the 1920s and 30s, including this lady here. He called her the Roma of Barbados, and she was actually born in West Ham, London in 1905 to a black father and a white mother. Here you've got a 2022 portrait of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, so William and Catherine. And this lady needs no introduction, Queen Victoria, the second longest reigning monarch of all time in this country, after Elizabeth II, from 1837 to 1901. So this was actually done depicting her in a sad state after the death of her husband, Prince Albert. So as you can see, I can't touch it, but this was done around sort of 1887 to 1889. You have to remember as well, guys, that before we had expensive luxury cars and watches and so on, artwork was one of the main form of ways to essentially show off wealth. So if you had good artwork and paintings in your home, it was a sign of wealth. I'm going to go inside this place behind me, this exhibition here. This one talks about nature. So all the portraits and stuff and sculpture and paintings that you see in here are essentially dedicated to nature. So here we've got a painting of an East Yorkshire farm from sort of the 1950s, as you can see basically. Then up here as well, you've got one of Hampstead Heath in London. So Hampstead Heath is known for obviously being very wealthy and its big open space. That is one of Hampstead Heath back in the 1700s and 1800s. That's roughly what Hampstead Heath looked like back then. This one here is from Joseph Wright, and this was in the 1770s in Italy when a volcano erupted of Mount Vesuvius, basically, as you can see there, pretty much. And then this here is on Newmarket Heath, basically. This is from someone called George Stubbs. And this is a painting of him in Newmarket, which is in Suffolk, not far from here. So this cabinet behind me was made by Jackson and Graham in London, and it takes essentially its inspiration from various designs of trees from various locations around the world. So essentially, this here pretty much was obviously made over a period of time, but it was inspired by travels to various countries around the world, such as places in the Middle East, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, pretty much the patterns were inspired by traveling through Spain and the Middle East, pretty much. So as you can see, it was done in around roughly 1871 to 1875, basically. You can't touch it, but as you can see, it's absolutely incredible if you look at all the actual design around it. This one here is of a road bridge at Argenteuil, which is a small town west of Paris, basically. It was done by a guy named Claude Monet in 1872, basically. So he's done this because at the time, lots of bridges around sort of the river Seine had been destroyed during the conflict between France and neighbours Germany. And as we're in Cambridge, this is a painting of what Cambridge is most famous for, apart from obviously the university, is punting, basically. So this was done in the 1940s/1950s by a lady called Gwendoline Raverat. So everything in this section is all religious-based paintings. So this obviously depicts Jesus Christ on the cross, and then you've got two people there. You've got Mary Magdalene, and then you've got John the Baptist there as well. And yet again, Jesus there, and then the same thing there. And as you move along, you've got three people. You've got Saint Augustine, Saint Michael, and Saint Germanus, basically. Here you've got something similar. You've got a Virgin and Child enthroned. So, as you can see there in front of you. And then you've got one that depicts Mary there. And then you've got an angel telling Mary that she will give birth to Jesus Christ. So that's Mary, that's the angel giving her the news that she will give birth to Jesus. And then you've got one here that depicts, this is in Italy, I believe, pretty much, where you've got a bishop right here performing miracles. So it depicts this guy performing miracles, I'm guessing to bring this person back to life, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, no, it says here, it depicts his healing of a child who has succumbed to fever. This here depicts pretty much the siege of Troy. And as you can see, you've got the wooden horse there right in the middle. And this whole painting depicts the chaotic day that was, basically, as you can see. I think this is from roughly the 1500s, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And this here depicts the crucifixion. So Jesus was crucified on the cross, and this here is meant to be obviously the dead Christ. And then you've got the mourning people around him, people mourning his death, basically, as you can see. So this is from the year sort of 1400s, I believe. This here depicts the beheading of John the Baptist. So you've got John there sat down, and he's about to be beheaded pretty much. And this here depicts Jesus Christ, the Saviour of the world. You can see the thorns across his head there, pretty much. This here depicts the baptism of Jesus. This is from the 1400s. So guys, I'm in the Italian art room. So everything in this room is dedicated to Italy and Italian art. So let's go around and have a look now. Some really, really cool stuff in here. So here you've got an mid-18th century Italian limewood commode, pretty much. So as you can see here, it depicts like some kind of river and a bridge, and people sort of like, is it fishing or whatever? Here you've got like some kind of like piano, pretty much. Obviously I can't touch it, but it says here that it is I don't know what it's called actually, but it's absolutely amazing. It's got obviously paintings on top, as you can see there, and then you can see the strings, or where the strings would have been down here. Here you've got an 18th century armchair made of softwood and painted with gilds and upholstered in the cut velvet, as you can see here. And in this section you have here a mannequin of an Iraqi prisoner of war from April the 14th, 2003, obviously when the invasion started basically. So this here is an ebony table cabinet in the form of a miniature classical temple, pretty much. And this is from the 1660s. You can kind of get a gist of how many compartments there are here. So here you can see full armory on display. And these are all, I believe, from the 1500s to the 1600s. So everything on here has been untouched from that time. So you've got the soldier there on the horse. Then here you've got essentially 3 various examples of armor that they would have worn. Now all of this armor comes from various locations. So most of the armor here comes from either Germany or Italy. Then also in here you've got a variety of wheel-lock rifles basically. So you've got some rifles and some pistols. You've got spears here as well. And then here you've got a variety of swords pretty much. And also some claymores. So number 8 in front of me is a sword known as a claymore from Scotland. Now if you like WWE, you know that Drew McIntyre, Scottish wrestler, calls his finisher a claymore in tribute to what's in front of me. But you can see a variety of swords here as well. Some of them are from Italy, so there's a stiletto. So this here, number 21, is a stiletto. Number 22 is a left-hand dagger. Same thing here, so these are all left-hand daggers here. I've just finished a tour of the museum. And how do I rate the museum? The museum's not bad. A little bit boring in comparison to others that I've been to, but it is good to go somewhere different. So overall, wasn't too bad. Would I recommend coming here? If you love ancient Greek and Roman mythology and stuff, definitely come down and have a little peek. That is it, guys, for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Let me know, where should I go next? I've got some cool ideas, but I'll go where you guys ask me to. In the meantime, I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.